What is up, ladies and gents? I'm Legendary Mike, and welcome back to Monster Breakdown, where I give you the tips and knowledge to beat monsters we face in Monster Hunter Worlds. And I am excited to get back and talk about today's target, Teostra. Teostra is one of those monsters that leaves its mark by being unique in design and mechanics. It's a tough opponent to face solo because he keeps the pressure on at all times. For all you veteran hunters, there's one monster that uses blast in this series that sends chills up your spines when you first encounter him, like Teo. Now, he isn't that bad once you've killed him a couple times, but let's understand his Elder Dragon mechanics first. His Elder Dragon aura is blast. He engulfs himself in blast, which imbues some of his attacks with the ability called Blast Blight. And second, his enrage will cause him to have a burning aura, which inflicts damage to you when you stand close. Bring the FireProof Mantle. Now, the FireProof Mantle improves your fire element resistance and makes you immune to Fire Blight and Blast Blight. Now, you have to complete the 7-star quest named the Fiery Convergence to unlock it. I do suggest using this during his enrage due to his burning aura, which I mentioned a second ago. Secondly, watch for his supernova. So in previous titles, Teostra's had an enrage timer, and in this one he does as well. For the second he enrages, from my testing, you have 60 to 80 seconds until he supernovas. Be sure to use a mental countdown if you're having a hard time with this move. So as far as his Nova, it's telegraphed and you normally have plenty of time to react. Thirdly, use the terrain. When fighting Teo in the Elder Recess, he will likely run to Area 8 at some point. Grab some stones while traveling to him, or in Area 9 normally has 2 to 3 gathering points. Unfortunately, there isn't a drop hazard to take advantage of while Spire waits, but here's where to find the ones in Elder Recess if you're having a hard time finding it. And lastly, bring large bomb pluses. Now, this isn't necessarily needed, but I found it helped some of my friends who are having problems soloing Teo. If you can't kill Teo before he retreats to sleep, this will help finish him off. It is also a great way to destroy his horns. If you don't have a great wake up attack, you can use red pit or stone to detonate the bombs if you don't have small bombs. Teostra, well, is kind of straightforward in terms of his moves. He doesn't fly around much other than a supernova, but we're going to start with his breath attack. Now, Teo has two versions of this attack. The first one being a single sweep in a small cone in front of himself that does minimal damage depending on your armor, of course. Also, there's times where he will replace the actual fire with blast dust, but to be honest, I haven't seen this too much. He will do this one most of the time and most frequently. Second version is a full-out fire breath sweep. Now, this attack starts with Teo lifting his head and spewing fire from the right to the left and then back to the right. This version is easier to avoid but has a funky hitbox. Sometimes I felt like I've been hit by it when I shouldn't have, and there's some times where I didn't get hit with it at all when I felt like I should have. With his black circle, he will widen his stance and flap his wings to create blast dust in a circle formation around him. Now, this one also feels a little weird to avoid. When he creates this circle around him, you have two options. You can run away from him and get completely outside the circle, or run towards him. Now, the only caveat with running towards him is make sure there's no dust clouds spawn near him. It can be hard to tell sometimes, and it will take some practice with this one. Button hook, this is one of his most used moves. Now, Teo rushes forward and spins his entire body to face you. Now, he will do this no matter the distance you are from him, and sometimes it also feels like he adds an explosive bite to the end of his spin, which isn't that bad but might catch you off guard. The delayed blast is one of his most damaging moves, and when enraged or tempered, it can one-shot you. Now, he will completely rear up on his hind legs and create a line of blast, and at the end of the line is a huge explosion. Now, you have a couple seconds to react, so make sure you keep an eye for this one. The leap, well, it basically happens kind of fast. It isn't a huge deal. I'm going to basically jump on to the next move. Tail swipe. Now, this one, just like a lot of monsters, his tail swipe can be expected. But what sets Teos apart is his blast mechanic I mentioned earlier. When Teo has his blast aura on, his tail swipe can cause blast blight, so be careful. The first aerial move I want to mention, guys, is his fire breath. His fire breath or aerial fire breath is rather easy to dodge because it's super slow. You have time to roll through it when it passes you or run away and flashbang him out of the sky. Rather easy to handle. Just like Kushala Deora, he also has a dive bomb. Now Teo's dive bomb happens fast and it can be hard to dodge at times. To avoid this one, just to watch for him to rear up while he's in the air. It's really easy to tell. You can just run or roll to the left or right to avoid this one. If you are quick enough to catch it, you can also flashbang him. Finally, I've mentioned this at the beginning of the video, Teo's supernova. Now this will probably kill a lot of people, but I have some ideas to help you. The first one up, I mentioned his rage timer earlier, and that's probably the best advice I could give you. Once he rages, you have 60 to 80 seconds before he novas unless she's doing a move. Now meaning if Teo is mid-aerial fire breath, when the timer hits 60, he will finish his animation and then go into the supernova. Just so there's no confusion, do not use the visual body cues like auras when counting down. Use the eye icon on the map. When he enrages, the eye turns red, so use that as a cue. If you have time, or you get to jump on it when he goes into supernova, use the flashbang. It completely renders the move free damage. Now, I've given you guys the know-how to beat Teo solo on a consistent basis. So if this has helped, hit the like button down below. If you want to keep up to date on my uploads, subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, guys, ladies, and I'll see you next time.